Go Mustang, the Coach Alexander Show, brought to you by Kim Assad, your real estate broker.
Hello, Mustang Nation. Matt Carnes, Grapevine Booster here for Week 6 of the Coach Mike Alexander Show with your head coach of Grapevine Mustang, Mike Alexander. Coach, you had a big win up in Denton Friday night. We'll get into that in a minute, but before we do so, tell us about the sub-varsity and how they managed this week.
Yeah, so we had a great showing on Thursday night with our JV and freshman teams playing Denton. They all three won and played really well too, and I think I said this in my weekly email that went out, and it didn't just apply to the varsity, it applied to the JV too. I truly believe that, most of these games we show up to, you look at the other team and you think, how in the world, is this going to happen? And but then our kids just start playing, and you truly see our DNA come out, and you see the fight in our guys and the discipline that we'll show, and just how they play for each other. And that's been a common thread at both the freshman, the JV, and the varsity level this year. And, it makes me proud to be a Mustang for sure.
Well, that carried over Friday night into the Denton High School Stadium, and you had a big win there, 63-34, and they had some size on that team as well.
Yeah, they did, man. That offensive line, I'm sure they were licking their chops when they, looked across and saw our defensive linemen that averaged weighing about 190, and they gave us all we wanted, up front. They were not an easy out, and that running back was special and tough to tackle. But like you just mentioned, Matt, I mean, our kids and the fight that they have, and we have some good football players on our team. I'm proud to coach.
Well, you talked about that running back who no doubt will be playing on Saturday here before too long. But he was hard to stop, but when you just kept scoring, and I don't think y'all got stopped the entire first half, it just takes them out of their game. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah, and that was that our offense really helped set the pace of that game, and it required us. It was kind of like a 7-on-7 game, really. I told our guys at halftime, hey, we just need one more stop. If we can just get one more stop, we'll be okay. And that's kind of how it played out, because I don't think we punted until the fourth quarter offensively, and we got a couple stops in the first half against their offense, and it kind of took the ball out of Posey's hands a little bit, and they had to start throwing it. And when they did, right before half, Coach Annell had designed some pretty good blitzes that were, took advantage of some mismatches and confused them a little bit. Next thing you know, it's 4th and 40, and I like our odds on 4th and 40. It's pretty good.
That was it was unbelievable to see how, as the game was still not totally put away, and you got to get that stop before you let them have a chance to have momentum going into halftime, and you just shove them back into 4th and 40 and take the ball back.
Yeah,
it was pretty impressive.
That little sequence right there before half where we scored, kicked off, held them, backed them up, got them backed up on a couple sacks, and then we're about to block the punt until the punter, realized I can't punt this ball, and we end up tackling him for a loss and get the ball to the offense. We go score again. So that was a 14-point swing right there, right at the end of the half, that I think really kind of gave us the momentum. Prior to that, I think score was 28-20 at the, and then we scored twice right there before halftime to really open up the gap.
Well, we'll see some of the highlights in a minute, but any hope they had coming out in the third quarter after Posey breaks that long one and gets them back somewhat in the game, Alex Vergara, and we'll see it here in the highlights in a little while, Alex Vergara didn't waste any time in dashing all their hopes.
Yeah, Alex is a very instinctive football player, and they had tried the onside kick earlier in the game, and Bryce Kane was Johnny on the spot and got it and, secured the football. But, Alex saw that coming. He was in the same position on the first time they onsided it. And I'm sure he told himself, if this happens again, I'm going to.
Here I go.
Yeah. And so he read it the whole way and got the nice hop. And, it's one of those things you dream about. Just everything just kind of fell into place.
It was that pretty much ended all hopes for the Broncos at that point. Let's go to the highlights and tell us what we're seeing here as we're going through some of these highlights, because it was a fun highlight reel to watch.
Yeah, so this is just a 3-man pressure that good coverage on the back end, makes him hold the ball, and then a little play action triggered Jackson Shadle off the edge, which is what contributed to that one. Here in a minute, we're about to see some 5-man pressures get dialed up. This was a little bit of a delay by Shimkus with Jackson on the backside. This one we're going to insert the Mike linebacker right there in the A gap, and that's something that's not common for us. We don't do a lot of that, and it kind of caught him off guard. I thought it was a good timely call. Coach Antle called that in, and thought that was right on time. And this is the punt block we designed this week for these guys special, and it played out just like we hoped it would. They didn't have enough to block Jackson coming off the edge, and they end up getting an intentional grounding, which gives us the ball in the 2, and we score a couple plays later, and here we go. Once again, right before half, still hadn't got to halftime, another 5-man pressure with I think it's the same one we ran down coming off the goal line just a minute ago with Scrap and Tim Drysdale coming off the same side. Now into the offensive side.
That was early in the game. That was your first touchdown right there.
Yeah, that was a play that we've been working since last spring. Hadn't ever run it. Just had the right time, got it worked out, and then finally, we get an opportunity to get in our goal line package and hammer the ball in and finally get it done after not getting it done the week before in Birdville. And then we've seen this before, right? I mean,
we have seen that before.
Same formation, same play. David scored on 3 games now. He's a handful one-on-one, and then you got Felipe knocking it through, and he just continues to be steady as the day is long. Mismatch here. Press coverage on David Clayton in the slot, too much field. And Cade puts the ball where it needs to be put and lets his athletes go do the rest here. I want to say, this is going to be a nice block on the perimeter.
Incredible blocking.
Yeah, you got everybody's wrapped up, tied up, and that's just what makes coaching this team fun. Is our skill kids are second to nobody, and you ask them to block, and they're going to block their tail off for each other too. They care about each other. Well, Seth had a big night on his returns. I think he returned most of them to midfield or better, which says a lot about our frontline guys getting their blocks and playing unselfishly. And he turns around and catches a fade ball for a big touchdown.
Well, Cade was definitely on that one this week.
Yeah, this was getting later in the game there. I think it was 35-20 at that point. O-line's really starting to hammer down on them, and then here we go, Alex, what we talked about earlier, picking off the onside kick and taking it the other way. I tell you, that's my biggest fear as a head coach when I decide to onside kick. I always worry about that right there.
Well, it doesn't happen very often, but boy, when it does, it's cool.
Well, Jack Ertz sure looks fast right there, running his. He just runs a little spot route and catches it, spins up the field, and man, he's a good big target for Cade. And this is the little post route where Vergara shows off his big catch radius for a touchdown. He had 2 on the night. Actually, he had 3 on the night, didn't he?
I guess if you catch it.
The onside kick.
The onside catch, sure.
And that was a big block by Chad Ngoe right there. We moved him up from the JV this week just to add a little more size on our offensive line and get a little better push. And we pull him right there, and he kicks out the inside linebacker, and makes us look smart for bringing him up.
So what you're telling me is that my son's JV team just lost a key body. Is that what I just heard there?
You did, yes, sir. But they didn't have it last week either. So
okay, all right.
They're going to be okay.
Well, Cade had a big night. I mean, 315 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So you got to be real happy about that. He spread the ball around. Talk a little bit about the offense and how they're clicking right now.
Man, Cade he's progressing just like we knew he would. He looked more comfortable in the pocket than he has all year. he stepped up and delivered balls down the field when he had edge pressure. You know, he's just looking like we knew he would by week 7. You know, which what we're going into. So everything's on track. You know, we're a little banged up here and there, nothing major, but just, you know, the week 7 nicks and bruises and soreness, and so this is the time of year where, as a head coach, we really have to manage practice and manage you know, reps in practice, and who needs them, who needs to take a little bit of time off, and make sure we're still, you know, hitting on all cylinders come Friday.
Well, and of course, you're also going to manage winter, which showed up overnight, so
Yeah,
that's probably going to be another element for you.
Yeah, and you know, just another opportunity though, just to be grateful for this facility that we have. You know, we want to be outside, we play outside, but when the weather's nasty like it is today, and it's 42 degrees outside, to have the luxury of being able to go inside and have a strong practice is means the world. I mean, my phone's been blowing up all day from every friend I have in the Metroplex that doesn't have an indoor facility. Can we come use it? What time could we use it? Is it available? You know, because everybody's looking for a place to get in out of the weather today, and you know, thanks to GCISD, we have a place that we can, and whether or not people understand it, it is a huge advantage that we have over people that do not have it. So we're thankful and blessed.
Well, let's talk about moving forward this week. You've got homecoming week, so tell us from a head coach perspective what you've got to deal with and manage as homecoming shows up on campus.
Well, I'll give you the Cliff Noted version of what we talked about as a team this morning, and I told the guys their number one job this week is to win. Their number one job for homecoming is to win the game. All the fanfare and all the fun stuff is great, and I told them to enjoy it and be present in the moment. When you're in school and and you're walking up and down the halls and it's dress up day and everybody's having a good time, enjoy that stuff. But as soon as you walk into the facility and you step across the white line, that stuff is completely irrelevant. You know, our job, ultimate job, is to win this game. And so we have to focus in on what's important to do that. Told them I would say yes to as many things as I could say yes to. You know, I get phone calls all day long from parents in elementary schools and middle schools and people in the community that want a piece of our kids. They want our kids to do this and have this part of homecoming and this. And I told them today, you know, I'll say yes to as much as I can, but it's my job to manage that we're ready to play also. And so with that being said, you know, homecoming is a special time because it's important to a lot of people, and we want to do our part in putting a good product on the field so everybody can be proud. And I don't have a doubt in my mind that we will. Looking forward to the homecoming parade. It's tradition, you know, it's fun. Eating at Jake's before the parade is a fun time that the kids will never forget. But we can't lose sight that at the end of the day, on Friday night at 7 o'clock at Pennington Field, our job's to win the football game.
Well, you've got, I mean, it's Team 99. It's not like your team doesn't have a lot of heritage and a lot of history to celebrate with homecoming.
Right.
So it's going to be a fun time there. So the parade, 6 o'clock Thursday night. I know the city of Grapevine always shows up for that. Mm-hmm. So that'll be a fun time to be a part of that. You got the game coming up, 7 o'clock at Pennington Field against Newman Smith. Tell us what we're looking for with those guys.
Newman Smith is a talented team. You know, their record's 2-4 right now. They're coming off a big win over R.L. Turner. They're going to have a little juice flowing. You know, they're going to have a little spark that they're going to ride into this game, and you know, it's getting to play. I mean, getting to play Grapevine is a big deal. You know, and they're coming over here, and you know, people get up to play Grapevine. You know, and so we got to be ready. We're going to get everybody's A game, and we know that, and you know, we've got to be prepared for it because, you know, their record's not indicative of the type of athlete that they have on their team. If you don't do your job, they can go score, and if you know, mess around on offense, you can look up and be in a nail biter in the third quarter, and we want to start strong and take care of business and win the football game, put on a great show, and let everybody have a great homecoming.
Well, before we sign off, let's talk a little bit about Breakfast of Champions. Of course, it'll be Friday morning, 7:15 in the locker room. But let's talk about the fun time we had last Friday morning with Russell, Maryland.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
Well, we asked last week, will he or won't he have the Super Bowl rings on, and he had one.
Yeah, he did one.
He had one on, but what a story, what a walk down memory lane for some of us who remember the Cowboy glory days.
Yeah, we learned so much about him that we didn't know before. You know, we didn't know he was a small town Indiana guy. Like I always assumed he was, came off the streets of Miami or something. I don't know why. I just didn't
because that's
know.
where we first heard of him.
Right. So, but yeah, what a great guy, and just real down to earth and funny yet inspiring when he talked to the boys, and man, it was great. That's what I love. That's what I love about being at Grapevine High School in the area that we live. We have such access to such phenomenal people, that can come in and
awesome.
add value to our program by speaking to our boys and different things like that. It's really neat.
So you think the nickname is going to change from Maverick to Yeet going forward from now on?
It very well might. I was wondering the same thing, though. I've got to be honest with you.
You couldn't have set that up any better.
No,
after he saw 19 run down the guy, talked about the heart, talked about the fight, talked about the other kid that had the Yeet shirt on, and it wound up to be the same kid. I just thought you couldn't have set that one up any better.
It was a great time. So for everybody out there that if you're a dad or just a man in our community and want to have a good time on Friday morning and be around some good people, come out to Breakfast with Champions, 7:15 in the field house.
Well worth it. We'll see you 7:15 there. But in the meantime, 6 o'clock Thursday night, downtown Grapevine, homecoming parade. Be there. And then Breakfast of Champions, of course, 7:15 Friday morning. Bring enough food for the players and the coaches. And then 7 o'clock Pennington Field. It's a homecoming game. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you there.
Awesome. Thank you.
Go Mustang. The Coach Alexander Show, brought to you by Kim Assad, your real estate broker.